So, Hot Shots Part 2. Appreciate you coming back around, bro.
Oh, no problem, man.
Yeah, I'm really glad to get back into the conversation we started and you know, further topics and points.
Yeah, most definitely.
I really want to talk a lot more about just your experiences as a person, as a man, and how that evolution happened for you. Like, you know, we talked earlier about, like, you know, some of your mentors. You talked about some of the things that you learned by way of your family and whatnot, which is super dope. But like, yeah, I'm interested in also in, like, just as a person, like, in your character. You know what I mean? Like, what are some of the, like, kind of, how did you start to develop, like, to yourself who Phil is going to be in the world? As a, I mean, characteristically.
Characteristic wise, and this might sound a little different, but I, for the most part, always been the person that would sit back and just watch everything around me. Then make my own decisions.
Yeah, I like that.
Especially when I'm in a new setting. You know, when I went to my high school, I sat back, watch how everything operated, then figure out what I was comfortable with, who I wanted to be around, etc.
Word.
The college, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
When I was in college, you could see me with a crew of people, like my boys, and you know, we was all tight, etc. You could also see me by myself, but you will always see me kind of like being observant. Before the comfort zone and the peeling the onion back, and, you know, certain atmosphere. I always wanted to be the person to make sure I understood how to navigate before I actually began navigating. So,
where you get that from? Or was it just?
Probably my dad.
Okay.
To be honest with you, you know, he's a reserve guy.
Yeah, I dig it. Okay.
You know, very intelligent, very smart, but doesn't never has to be like the center of attention or anything like that. And but always very approachable.
Yeah.
You know, and I could tell, you know, how he handles certain situations. That was a good example. For me as well.
Yeah.
You could kind of say that.
Word. Okay. Yeah, that's been a thread for me, like in different conversations with folks, and in my own life recently, like the for lack of a better word, the cheat code of taking your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like letting the information come to you before you say anything, do anything. Like, just give yourself the time to collect data, so to speak, collect perspective, collect insight. You know what I mean? And, you know, kind of similar to what we talked about before, it's like, we're not inventors. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not out here, you know, presenting new ideas. We're presenting new expressions of ideas for sure.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And our own personal touch and taste on a thing. But like, off a lot of the successes, I would say, come from how willing are you to be a student.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, especially nowadays, you can make $1 immediately.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But it could be your last dollar if you don't know how to make the.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So I always like to kind of like study and manifest.
Yeah.
So that by the time I'm ready to really like roll with something, I can shift different gears and kind of be operating at a swing, and you know, make sure whatever it is that I'm into is fully soundproof or you know, fully stable.
Word.
You know, I just think that's the best way to operate. I think you'll project yourself further if you actually take the time to invest, study, understand, you know.
Yeah. Let me ask you this about, like, I think so much of whatever it is that we do and become and whatnot in life has to do with our self-esteem, right? Like, whatever you do, you gotta believe that it's for you to do that thing, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And in your case, like, what would you say were the building blocks of your self-esteem?
I probably got that foundation probably from my mom in terms of building blocks of self-esteem. When it comes to navigating with people, engaging, meeting new people, you know, my mother was always big on people skills, you know, and when I didn't have the best people skills, she kind of drilled me on it.
Okay.
That's on an interpersonal level.
Yeah.
Probably from like a young man perspective and a sports perspective, the self-esteem and confidence was built from my dad for sure.
Okay.
I mean, you know, like for just it could be the smaller stuff like we're going to Pop Warner practice and it's the first day of full contact.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, you better be out there running people over.
Yeah.
So it's like he kind of knew what to say, give me that battery before kind of went out there. You know, and that, after a while, it's just growth.
Right.
In both aspects.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I just feel like when you teaching somebody something or training somebody something, once you give somebody the expectations, they'll be aware if they're meeting them or not.
Yeah.
So there's always a point in times in my life when my father could say, all right now.
Yeah.
You're not meeting his expectations. You
Right.
gotta meet them.
Right.
My mom could do the same thing when it comes to other areas.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, and that's just really life and teaching for you. And I just feel like successful people, if they have somebody like that in their corner, they'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, because once the standard has been set, you know where you are.
Yeah.
So I can attribute that to both my parents.
Okay.
You know, for sure. And
Dope.
then, you know, you are who your circle is, you know? So, you know, I got my inner circle.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same.
Yeah.
With that confidence, you know, like people will remind you, like, look, man,
Right.
you are who you are.
Right.
Forget that.
Yeah.
You know, and you always gotta do it for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you
Always.
do, man.
Always.
You always.
And I think that's another benefit to documenting what you do. It's like once you do something and you know whatever, win a game, execute a thing successfully, especially if it's documented.
Yeah.
Like that's in your jacket now. It's like I am that person.
For sure.
So the next opportunity to show up, I have my own standard to meet based on what I actually did, not like what I believe, not like my principles. I actually did that.
Right. People can't take away what you've done.
Yeah.
Just add it to your portfolio, your resume, it's there. That's
Word.
it. You know. So, I don't know, man. Sometimes the things I've accomplished, I might be surprised, and then sometimes I'll say to myself, well, how could you be surprised with all the sharpening and
Right.
you know, people that's been in your life that's been sharpening you to get you where you are. And then, you know, I got so many more things that I want to accomplish, and you know, it's going to happen because you know, you really manifest. You know, as a person really thinks, that's what's really going to happen.
That's a fact.
It takes a certain probably level of understanding and maturity and experience to kind of get to that point. When I was young, I didn't really always understand. You know, and I used to get frustrated when a successful person couldn't tell me a straight answer on how to be successful. One of the things that I used to get so frustrated about. But to be honest with you, is you're going to take a whole lot of toss and turns. You know? You're gonna lose out on things that's going to make you better. You know, I lost money in the business game. You know, I've lost money in different avenues of life and things that I've tried. Now I'm at an age where I say, you know what, I can kind of go back to what I was doing and I can make it better. You know, people always say if I knew then what I know now, it'd be better. But you know what? It's not too late to take what you apply now.
True. You
know, it might be a little bit different.
Right.
You can still capitalize on it. So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's just life.
Yeah, I mean, to that point. So, like, okay, you're a married man, right? And congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to my wife.
Word. But that's an example of like, in life, your highest priorities will change. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, single Phil had this list of priorities, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as Phil goes through life and develops this relationship and gets married, the order changes.
Correct.
It just does. Like, and it doesn't change out of obligation. It changes out of like your choices. Like you set what you want your life to look like, what the priorities are, and everything will cooperate if you cooperate with your own priorities. You know what I mean? Like you don't suffer your priorities. You suffer not living your priorities. You know what I'm saying? And what is it for you, like this experience of going from, cause like, I mean, I don't know you closely, you know what I'm saying? But you're like, you're not ladies, man, running around like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I got you.
you know what I mean?
I get it.
But still, now that you're married, it's like, okay, how does that affect how you reestablish priorities and then live to those priorities?
So priorities just get rearranged. As a married man, I could definitely say that operations change. You know, with the events now, it always been a business. It's just more of strictly business.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, what I do in that business can affect the household. You know, so I always want to make sure that I have that understanding when I'm operating in business. There's other goals and things that I wanted to achieve, and so you know we have those open discussions, and it's not just what I want to do. It's not just my calendar. It's our calendar. You know, so let's say I wanted to, you know, create something that would have started within the next 6 months. Realistically, it might not be that time frame now that I'm married. It might be a year. It might be 2. Things happen. You know, I seen my parents make sacrifices. And so seeing that firsthand, it just kind of teaches you to be able to one day make that for yourself. You know. So I mean, business is business. Work is work. Coaching is coaching. Family is family.
Family,
And so, you know, you put that family aspect of things first. There's more of an inclusion.
Now, you
know, because at the end of the day, you know, when I started Filling the Brunch, I was a single man. You know, and so there's certain ways that I carry myself that obviously I didn't before. There are more of inclusion things. I ask my wife about opinion about certain things. Because at the end of the day, she's in my corner. She's my biggest supporter. I'm her biggest supporter. You know, so it would kind of be selfish to not have that inclusion. So it's just treated more of a business perspective, which is good because I just feel like it's real clear cut and dry. You know, this is the goal. This is what I'm trying to, this is the rollout, this is what it looks like, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. You know, here's what I'm trying to meet as far as this aspect with this event or that event or the year, the calendar, etc. I move dates around because, you know, we have functions that we have to attend and, you know, family members on her side, we have things that we got to do. So now I had to rearrange some aspects of my calendar because it's our, you know, joint family. So, and I hope I answered that question. It's just more of an inclusion, and it's more of a professional. Not saying that I wasn't a professional before, but
it's more distinct.
It's like the agenda is. It's like the agenda has become a little different, you know, because like I'm here with a purpose. You know? And so I had that purpose before, but the purpose now got more meaning to it because I'm a married man versus being a single man. I can kind of, you know, make certain mistakes. I had events on my calendar that were pretty costly that I decided to say, you know what, because it's so costly, let me take these events off my calendar because I had to make sure that, you know, I'm available for certain things now because I'm a family man. You know, so one of the examples was the brunch festival. I did the brunch festival for 2 years. I took an ice skating rink and turned it into an event space and experience. You know, but budget wise, it's a lot. It can be an overhaul. You know, and then to fill up a space like that, you gotta spend so much money in marketing and advertisement, and you gotta have the time. So I just feel like the brunch festival will hopefully be something that I get back into, or maybe I'll revamp it. But because of the amount of time, effort, energy, financially, it just would have put a strain. It wouldn't have put a strain on me. It would put a strain on her too. So I took it off my calendar.
You know? Got you.
Things like that.
You know, it's
and I'm okay with that. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, you want. it's a grown man business. You gotta make grown man
Yeah,
decisions.
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Big fact.
I'm alright with that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I can replace that with something else.
Yeah.
You know, I can come back to the table later and find a way to roll it out where it might not be that much strenuous on myself.
Right.
A lot of that comes with growth.
Yeah, because like that's the thing that younger you or single you probably wouldn't do.
Correct.
Like you wouldn't look for the streamlined way as much or the sophisticated way as much. You would brute force more things when it's just you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like stretch time or attempt to stretch time when it's like it's an impossibility, but
Right.
you know, having the wife helps you appreciate.
For sure.
It's impossible to stretch time. You know what I mean? And so deal with the priorities accordingly. But on another note, like as the event planner, right? And I really dig. I have no qualms about giving you flowers, right? So whatever you got to say in the comments, have at it. But you're the center. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it's called filling the brunch, but you don't carry yourself as I'm the star of the room,
Right.
shine a light on me type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Still, everybody knows who you are, right? And it's something that most people don't experience. Most people don't experience admiration from people just because you're the guy in the room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't know you personally. They don't know what you're good at. They don't know your character. But I'm at Phil and the brunch is brunch, and that's Phil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not just from women either. Like you get attention and interest and sometimes disinterest just because you are the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to navigate how you're going to carry yourself through these experiences, how you're building out this thing you're building, how to be friendly with people that aren't your friends. You know what I'm saying? And to be caretaking of people without blurring the line of business, like you said.
Right. Yeah.
But the energy and attention that you get from people can be incredibly intoxicating, especially like when you're younger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you become the man like that. Like if the party's popping and you're the guy, you're the guy.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
It's a hustler spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like a true person that's a go-getter really gonna understand that. You know,
Yep.
it's like those 6 to 8 hours. It's like that's it.
Yep.
Everybody's gotta go to you for everything they need because you got them here. You know, the vibe and the atmosphere is up, and you know, certain events when the atmosphere and the drive is really up, it's like whoa, like you know, I'm having a good time, and then you know, people love feeling good. You know, so if I could make you feel good, it's like, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
They'll keep coming back for that. You know, when you got a product or an entity that is thriving and people are willing to make time and sacrifice to come.
Yep.
And you know, then they'll push and advertise your brand for you.
Yep.
You know, that type of, it says a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I mean, you know, you got people, I've seen other promoters, they've been in the game a long time and they're still going. I've seen some other promoters, you know, step down, and it's like, wow, like, you know, when you step down, they just go to find somebody else.
They're going to fill the spot,
You know, they are. And, you know, not saying that everything lasts forever, but I don't know, man, it's that drive to make people feel like they're having a good time.
Yeah,
I try to be very, like, subtle with it. You know, I don't gotta be loud. You know, I know who you are coming in, and I make sure people feel appreciated and accommodated and all of that, because I get a joy out of it. You know, and it's not even just a financial aspect. I get a joy out of it because the reputation of the brand to me is also first.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like I was thinking recently, like, yeah, I'm surprised, but then I'm not surprised because I just seen it in my parents growing up.
Yeah.
My if you remember my father, he's a very laid back guy.
Copy.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
And it's like how he interacts with people and all of that. Like I love that about my pops. You know? And my mom is who she is. You know?
Word.
Like I said, they done been everywhere from Hollywood to the hood. You know, so the thing is, it's like all of that I've seen cultivated firsthand.
Yep.
And I'm not necessarily like a guy that's got to be like the center of attention at all, really. You know,
Yeah.
I'd rather you come out and have the experience and not just sit back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if an event is going to be like 6 hours, chances are I'm probably working to make sure everybody's accommodated in the first 4.
Right.
I'll probably only get to chill the last hour and a half to 2 hours for my event.
Mm-hmm.
But that's business.
Yeah.
You know, like they say, all in a day's work.
Right.
But when I look back on how things are and how things were, I mean, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it do. I mean, I used to, not bragging, but before COVID, I would buy like 500 wristbands. I'm like, all right, I hope I run out of wristbands. I know I'm going to run out of 500.
Yeah.
I want the club to come and be like, Phil, we ran out of
Yeah.
wristbands.
Yeah.
All right, I need another 100.
Right.
Another 200.
Right.
But I don't know, man. It's that spirit. I always had to be shaking and grooving with something, man. Take it back to college. I was selling my tees at Virginia State.
Yeah.
Just about everybody bought tees from me, and that was like my hustle.
I feel like you're the second person from up here that I know that went down to Virginia
hustle.
did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my hustle, man.
Word.
I had a 4-door Honda Accord,
Uh-huh.
a 2000 green Honda Accord.
Yeah.
And my trunk was my store.
Yeah.
I had the 1X for the DC Cats all the way up to the 6X long tees for the Jersey and New York. I had a next tab, my phone was going on every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And you know, at that time, you couldn't even, you know, don't call me after 9 o'clock.
Right.
So hit me on the church.
Nice and weekend, word.
Yeah, nice and weekend. So like, you know, I'm telling my age right now, so they'll be hitting me for the tees. You hear that? Bloop, bloop.
Yep.
Yeah, I need tees.
Yeah.
And my dad used to take me to the garment district in New York. I forgot that great building, but anybody that be in the city, they probably know. 4 floors, elevator look like it's too shaky. Always took the stairs, and we get them dozens of tees.
Yeah.
Flip. And then, you know, I put the money in my account. He'll take it out. He'll go to New York for me. He'll ship it. He'll take care of the shipment handling. I was always going.
Yeah.
Like always.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. T.I. came out with Rubber Band, man, bro, and I used to put my cash in Rubber Band. It's that hustler mentality.
Now you got an anthem. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm interested in your perspective and your relationship with excellence and mediocrity.
I mean, to be honest with you, like, when it comes to certain things, right? Like, you got to be a go-getter, you got to be a killer, you know? So, excellence is always the bar. I just feel like sometimes mediocrity happens. I'm not going to sit there and act like I'm a guru. You know, like, I don't get tired, but sometimes I get maybe a little bit slowful here and there because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then even like my business partners with the Tehsuan barbecue, like, you know, like they'll get on my case, and I'm just being real right now. You know, like they be like, look, man, you know, we need you to handle this, we need you to handle that. You know, like you got all this potential. I know you got a lot going on, but you know, you the person that can get this done, get that done.
Yeah.
Excellence is always the standard. Excellence is always the bar. Sometimes when I get a little slowful or a little weary, I tell myself, like, look, like, you know, it's time to really like sit down, reprioritize, reorganize. You know, start knocking off this to-do list.
Yeah.
The list is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But you don't want the stuff just sitting there.
Word.
You know, and I mean, I understand both sides, but real go-getters, for lack of better words, nobody want to hear nothing about mediocrity.
Yeah.
They just don't. They're not even gonna make time for it. Some of the biggest business people like in the country that you see, they don't make an ounce for mediocrity. And to be honest with you, seeing how these people operate, they probably consider sleeping a form of mediocrity. Like I've asked certain people that's been in rooms with certain like multi-millionaires or go-getters or well-known businessmen, and then one of the things they tell you is that the person doesn't even sleep. You know, so you mean to tell me like people are willing to sacrifice rest,
right?
And they probably well off. The family's probably well off, but they still up, burn a candle at both ends because they just
that
don't
drive,
stop. That drive just doesn't stop for them.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, what a person is going to invest in time, effort, money, is going to show you where their level of excellence is. You're not going to see mediocrity.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at a guy like LeBron James. He makes millions of dollars, and yet he still every year is going to spend $1 million into his body. He's going to take $1 million out of the money that he makes just to invest in his strength, his conditioning, and his athleticism.
Right.
And $1 million, you can get some people $1 million, they'll be well off.
Right.
Big time.
Right.
But he's still willing to take $1 million and invest in his body so he can keep on playing.
Yeah.
You know? So that's big time excellence.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
You got some people who make that kind of money and they just blowing the cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I look at people like that and I say, all right, look, I'm not saying that's who I'm trying to be, but if I want to reach my level of expectations or my level of excellence and not necessarily be in the mediocrity situation, then it's time to roll the sleeves and get back on track. And I might get a little sidetracked from time to time, it just happens. But I always remind myself, look, if this is the bar, then you get back to doing what the bar is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's something really, really powerful about being able to coach yourself. Like even in a moment. Like having an inner voice that has authority. You know what I mean? To be able to like check yourself or correct yourself or encourage yourself. But it's such a powerful, powerful thing to have your own inner voice, not only be an authority, because everybody's inner voice is an authority, but everybody's inner voice isn't encouraging.
Correct.
Most people's inner voice is discouraging.
Right.
You know what I mean? Most people's inner voice is, let me not say most, many people's inner voices are just echoes of victim mentality or limited self-beliefs or just general pessimism.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And to have an inner voice that can get you going is the game.
It's the game, but you also got to dream it too, just to add on top of that. But like, you know, like I dream and envision certain things, you know. That's also motivation. There's certain business things that I want to do, and you know, I'm not necessarily going to rule them out now, but certain phases as a businessman and an entrepreneur that I'll envision and I'll dream. And I'll dream that with my wife, children.
Yeah.
And saying to myself, and you know, letting the path show. He went from doing this to doing that, and now he's, you know, accomplishing this and accomplishing that.
Yeah.
It just keeps on elevating.
Yep.
And so knowing where I want to go, not just coaching myself, but you know, manifesting, visualizing, dreaming that, picturing myself where I'm trying to be.
Yep.
That's also motivation too.
Yeah.
Because I could actually see, you know, what I want. You know, I can tell you what it looks like.
Yeah.
So now, if I can see that, then it's like, all right, now I know how I'm gonna go get that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like you said, like seeing the pathway is so clutch.
Yeah.
Because that's what, in my opinion and estimation, that's what being a visionary is. It's not just seeing the end, it's seeing a pathway. Like that's what everybody can't see, how to get there. Right. And for whatever reason, if you can see that in your picture, it makes a world of difference.
Right.
Now, everybody got dreams, but dreams and visions aren't the same thing.
They're not, especially if you don't do no mapping involved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like, you know, like you got to be a good person at mapping to kind of like be able to know, you know, how to get to the end result.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So, I just feel like I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
It just ain't really going
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? That's it.
What, let's talk about sports.
Let's do it.
What was your first sport?
My first sport was basketball.
Okay.
I played recreation basketball.
Yeah.
I played Pop Warner football.
Yeah.
I should have ended up going to high school and playing both.
Football? Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah, I should have. But I ended up going to Roosevelt Catholic. They only had basketball.
Okay.
I played basketball at Roosevelt Catholic.
Yeah. I think my nephew played there for a little while.
Yeah, so, you know, I played under the old coach. It was, you know, Pat Hagan.
Oh, okay.
I learned a lot. It's a system. It took me a while to really like catch on. But once I caught on, I was on. And just sports wise, how he ran things and how the system was really ran. He didn't really have to call plays until we exhausted like 5 or 6, 7 different options. You know? So it's old fashioned basketball, but it works.
Right.
I try to do a lot of old fashioned basketball, but also get with today's trend in basketball as well.
Yeah.
You know, because with coaching, you constantly got to make adjustments. I mean, every season.
Yeah.
You know, so as far as sports, basketball, firsthand, to believe it or not, I was always a point guard.
Oh, okay.
In my 7th grade, I had a growth spurt.
Okay.
I tell the story all the time. Right, we had in Roselle, we had a 7th grade travel team and 8th grade travel team.
Okay.
By counties AAU, so you had rec, and then you took the best kids in rec and made travel teams within the 7th and 8th graders. So I played point guard until 7th grade, and when we had the tryouts for 7th grade AAU, I never forget this story. My dad and coaching staff was like, all right, all the point guards going down here, and all the small forwards and power forwards and centers is going down here. So I started walking with the guards, and he like, you gonna be down here with the power forwards in there.
Right.
I'm like, what? He's
right.
like, yeah, you're gonna be down with the power forwards. Now this is in this day and age, I probably wouldn't have been down there.
Right.
You know, because everybody's a guard. It's a guard's game now.
Word.
So, but in that time, in the late 90s, it was like, all right, playing on the post. But the funny story is, I never played point guard again after that.
Oh, word.
So I never played guard after that, ever. I went from small forward, I got taller, I played power forward, I got taller, I played power forward and something.
Yeah.
That was that. And at Roselle Catholic, I played the 4 and the 5. And I mean, it's cool. It was great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I just wonder how things would have panned out playing football. 'Cause I pretty much played like every single spot. And I had a couple of good seasons where I was really decent at quarterback.
Yeah.
And Roselle had a lot of good football players at the time. You had like just a lot. I don't want to get the names on the podcast, but you had a lot of good football players at the time. And so it was just one of those things where all the good guys played Pop Warner and they just went all the way up through high school.
Okay.
And rarely did you see somebody who did not play like Pop Warner, like quote unquote, with us, but they went far. And there's some names out there, just off topic. There are some guys that didn't necessarily play Pop Warner that was just like, when they got to high school, they just exploded. But, I mean, those were my 2 sports, firsthand. And I always knew if I wasn't going to play basketball long term, I knew I was going to coach it.
What you said you really good at quarterback. What made you really good at quarterback?
You know what? It kind of just happened.
Okay.
My first year at Pop Warner, I feel like when you play Pop Warner, they had junior peewees. Everybody, a lot of guys always play like the line. Yeah. Because when you have junior peewees, your first year guys end up playing the line. The second year guys get all the good spots unless somebody was just that good.
Gotcha.
So my first year playing at Pop Warner, they had me and my boys on O-line.
Okay.
My second year, which was 5th grade, me and my boys was returning to junior peewees. We already had a year experience. The other guys went on the peewees. Yeah. So my Coach Frank, real great guy. In the beginning of the season, when we're doing like trying out for like certain spots, guys trying out for wide receiver, I was like, Coach, I was like, I want to try out for quarterback. So you got your 2 wide receiver lines. Whoever's going to be the center for that season is doing the snaps, and then whoever's trying a quarterback can get their chance to take snaps and trying a quarterback. So those guys, trying out, and I'm like, Coach, I want to try quarterback. Yeah. And I'm back there and I'm throwing. And now I don't get replaced with nobody else. And he like, you're going to be quarterback. So me and the other quarterback, to his credit, was a guy named Jesse Holly who made it to the NFL. Yeah. Big time name. Played, North Carolina basketball. But I just played quarterback. And I never forgot after the practice. We had these footballs called TDYs. Okay. He gave my dad a TDY and was like, look, practice with him in the backyard, taking one knee, throw in, from here, take the knee, throw, stand, throw, etc. And we just kept on practicing every day. And then, I was playing quarterback. Yeah. And, I played quarterback, linebacker, played both ways.
What would you say was like your personal gifts and talents? Like, was it your field vision? Was it your arm?
Probably a little bit of both. Okay. Probably field vision.
Okay.
That season, my other Pop Warner coach, he just passed away. Rest in peace, Coach Youssef. Him and Brett Wyatt, their dad, his name was Al Wyatt, and he had passed away. They had it wasn't an MVP trophy, but the award was called like a Caring Shepherd. It was basically called the Pop Warner Heisman.
Okay.
So after that season, played quarterback. I got Pop Warner Heisman. Like I still got the trophy at my parents' house to this day.
That's fine.
You know. So you know, it could have been division. I don't know. I just feel like at that time, kids, and I don't see this day and age. We played so much
like
in the streets,
recreation,
that you just couldn't help but develop skills.
Yeah.
You just couldn't help it. So I just feel like probably just from playing with my friends in the neighborhood, we would organize football games and draw touchdowns in the street, and you know, be playing touch, going to the fields, playing tackle all the time. You know, we wasn't on no iPhones.
Right.
Yeah, we had Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Right.
But, you know, we was riding bikes, we was going to play sports. So I just felt like you couldn't help but get nice. And then, you know, I also got good playing with older people.
Yeah.
Basketball and football.
Yeah.
You know, you always wanted to play with the older guys.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And it's like a rites of passage.
Yeah.
And everybody knew each other in Roselle. You know, so older guys would be like, yo, this kid gonna be nice. This kid gonna be nice. You know, it just kind of like just happened.
Yeah.
I wish there was more of it to this day and age. You got so many kids locked in with technology.
True.
It's not technology's a bad thing, but sports wise, you know, football, basketball, love Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep. Okay.
You know, Vince Carter. Probably favorite player.
Okay, yeah.
You know, one of the best dunkers of all time.
All time.
Allen Iverson. You know, I mean, this is just a lot of This is a lot of greats.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, football wise, you know, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Quarterback. I mean, you had some great guys, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, you know, that was a good era.
Yeah,
sports,
them 90s Cowboys,
you know? Yeah, big time, man. And then, you know, the Knicks Bulls rivalry.
Right.
I don't know, man. That was just, there was so much going on at that time that we couldn't unpack.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate, like, the thing about sports, when I was younger and playing sports regularly, I never played sports, like I never played organized sports. I only played in the park or, you know, in the court or whatever. But I remember the feeling of seeing the court with like advanced eyes from how I saw it yesterday. Okay. Like seeing a play that I wouldn't have saw yesterday. Right. Seeing an opening that I wouldn't have saw yesterday. Yeah. And understanding the game from another dimension now. It's like, oh, this isn't just get the ball and make a play. The play is there. If you can see it, you make the play. You don't just athlete your way into everything. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And the same, like, you know, across sports, like not basketball, football, like across, like there's people who, not people who, there is the ability to see the game. You can play the game and not see the game.
Correct.
And then when you start to see the game, you realize who doesn't see the game on the court with you or on the field with you.
It's a whole different perspective,
especially
when you're in it. And then just imagine that with coaching.
Yeah.
You know, I see stuff before it happens in coaching.
Right.
Because I just put so much time into it.
Yeah.
And just been in thousands of different situations. And so you could always tell, even if somebody coaching doesn't see the game the same way.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
This conversation could get really deep.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just the beauty of sports. And that's why people who are like so dominant in sports are praised and so exceptional because they really seeing stuff before it happens. Yeah. Or they're dictating what's going to happen.
Right.
You know, what's going to happen next. That stuff is it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to just, you know, being in an atmosphere day in and day out, coaching it, seeing it, working hard on that. Yeah, for sure, man.
And like to your point earlier about, you know, when you played basketball and the system that you learned, right? Now, whether it's coaching, whether it's in business, family, you're now creating systems.
Correct.
You know what I mean? You're developing systems, whether it's with partners, with wife, spouse, or not. You know what I mean? And the system in and of itself isn't the team's strength. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the being locked into the system.
Correct.
Is what makes the team strong.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Whether it's in marriage, whether it's in business, whether it's in sports. It's like every team has a system.
And it'll show if you're not locked.
If you're not locked into that system,
Show.
and we've seen teams. I think it was like one year the Colts, for whatever reason, everybody locked in, and it was like the year Peyton got the joint, and it was like, damn, the talent was there. Like, this is professional level talent. These are the best, and they weren't locked in, so it showed.
Oh yeah.
But when they lock in,
You can have the
it
same,
shows.
You can have the same team, and when they locked in,
Yeah.
locked in could look like two totally different teams.
Yeah.
You know, so that locked in is a different
Word.
aspect. And
Word.
It carries across the board, like you said.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a sense of responsibility to locking in. You know what I mean? Like similar to what you mentioned about LeBron, $1 million into his body, that's locking in.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you can get an awful lot done with 500,000. But if you're locked in, you pay the cost. If it's $1 million, it's $1 million because I'm locked in.
Exactly.
You know, I don't get to choose the cost. I get to choose if I'm gonna pay the cost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man, shit. So, how would you say that imagination plays into, like, whether it's events, coaching, work? Like, how do you mentally play?
I imagine every day, and it just depends on what topic I have, what task rather I have in front of me. You know, and I just at this age or stage, I'm constantly thinking like, how can I revamp? How can I keep certain things fresh? How can I keep certain things new? And so, you know, I've been doing brunches for quite some time. But I have some new themes, new venues, new experiences that are different.
Yeah.
So somebody who might have been coming to brunch in 2018, 2019, and they come now, they're going to get a different experience.
Yeah.
You know, if they know they're going to get the same experience over and over, it might not necessarily, you know, come back.
Right.
And even with the new experiences that I'm creating now, I'm still trying to think of new experiences to create. The whole thing with coaching, and coaching is very, very time consuming. Coaching is anybody that's puts a lot of work into coaching is not into coaching basketball or sports for the financial benefits. Because to be honest with you, I have my kids working year round.
Yeah.
And so, like my team this season will look a lot different. And so now I have to coach them differently.
Yeah.
I have to do certain things in terms of preparation differently to maximize what I'm gonna get out of them.
Yeah.
And you know, just to give you a dynamic of the high school team, for the past like 6 years plus, we've always had kids. We've had 2 or 3 kids that was 6'5", or a kid on the roster that was 6'7" or 6'9". And so this upcoming season looks like this is the first season we're not going to have a kid with any of that.
Okay.
So now I had to put a whole lot of different type of planning and preparation on. I got to coach a team similar to what we had in 2017.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We also won state championships in 2017. Those kids were just different.
Okay.
But there's a lot of skill tactics, strategies, a lot of things that we're doing with our kids now that we did when we had that type of team. So this is not like I'm entering uncharted territory.
Right.
You know, in terms of the planning and preparation.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is really just the execution.
Yeah.
So and then also to get kids in, you know, we're getting into now doing basketball camps and skill clinics to come reintroduce ourselves to the city, saying, hey, look, you know, this is a home for basketball. Yeah. Before the pandemic, I used to do AAU and travel team because I had that experience. I took my own AAU experience, created something for the kids at the school. It would keep them out of trouble. We would travel, we would play. It would develop us in the off season. We would get really good. You know, once COVID happened, AAU just tremendously changed. And then also too, you know, like my, again, personal life and responsibilities change, you know, because I'm with somebody now, you know, and so I don't have the schedule where I say, all right, this weekend we're going to an AAU tour, this weekend I got an event, and it's just my calendar. There's no more my calendar now. And because AAU changed so much, I just felt like, you know what, I put the time into it, and I just focus on other ways to develop my team instead of AAU.
Yeah.
But it was also used as a recruitment tool. So I said to myself, now listen, at this day and age, I need another recruitment tool, but also something that will get kids to come to the school, but also will fit in the timeline. Yeah. And so now I'm saying, you know what? Now I'm doing camps and skill clinics, and the kids that register for the database. Now we have our kids in the camp. Yeah. But simultaneously, those kids are also now our recruitment pool. You know, they're already familiar with the school. Yeah. So now I say to myself, I can take some business aspects and apply it to my basketball career if I want to get more talent into the school. So with my business, I have a birthday registration. Once you register, I got your birthday in the system. And every year, a month or two in advance, I can reach out to you, say, hey, look, you know, this year I'm doing the event. This weekend, I know you have a birthday around the time, and you don't have any plans, etc. But you're in my registry. I got your birthday for life. So now I can say, all right, look, I want to tap into 6, 7, 8 graders into the city. They're gonna scan a QR code. They're gonna register for the clinic. So now we get to see those kids at the clinic. Right. The 6th graders are going to wear this color t-shirt, the 7th graders are going to wear another color t-shirt, the 8th graders are going to wear another color t-shirt. So now myself and all the coaching staff would say, wow, this kid is really good. He's a 6th grader. I don't know that because he had on this color shirt. So he's checked in. We see what he's got going on. Hey, look, you know, when we introduce ourselves to your parents, you know, let you know what you can work on. Also let you know we'll be interested in you coming here, and there's more where this came from other than just a one-day clinic. That kid is in our database. Right. So his 6th, 7th, 8th grade, we could follow what's going on. We could come to his elementary school games, etc. So now instead of with business, them coming to an event, now with basketball, they coming to my school. You know, so I kind of had to kind of like figure out how can I get the same mission done, but still be time efficient. Because what I used to do, I used to just do a 7th, 8th grade team, and I would put like 15 kids on there, and out of those 15 kids, maybe like 8 will come to the school, which is good because you know them 8 might not have came unless I did the AAU thing. But the AAU thing was time consuming. I used to do before the pandemic. I was, like I said, doing AAU and doing the events. My first all white, we played in a championship in Zuku Summer League, 8th grade team. Shout out to OG, head coach at Central, Sean McCray. And we played in the playoffs, and the funny thing about it, we were a number 9 seed in the playoffs. And
what year is this?
This is the first year I did my all white was 2017. This is in August. And those kids are in college now, actually, you know, which is crazy. We played in the championship game that day. It was at the waterfront. But I'll never forget it. We, you know, leading up to the championship game, we were the number 9 seed. We beat the 8 seed. Then we beat the number 1 seed. Then after that, we beat the number 4 seed. And we ended up having to play like the number 2 seed in the championship. I lost by like 4 points. And I got the picture. And the kids, they were so mad. I'm going to find a picture. I'm going to send it to you. So
please.
And they were so mad. I'm like, listen, man, I'm with y'all. But like, you know, we was a number 9 seed. You know, those kids been rocking with me. And a few of those kids ended up coming to Behringer. And, you know, those other kids went to their respective schools. But those were some real talented kids. I won't forget. You know, I coached that championship game. Came home, freshened up, shower. Went to my white MCs. And this was kind of like, this was like that early buzz that I was telling you about with Phil DeBrusque. Because now it's like, all right, I started Jersey in April, and now it's like in August I got my first all white. You know, and like that was a crazy experience, but that was, you know, I had the time to do those things. You know, so now doing the skills camps and clinics, using that as a recruitment tool, and then still working on my high school kids, I kind of can get the same objective accomplished.
System. Got a system.
A better way to manage my time. You know?
Yo, let me ask you this, man. What's something or some things that, let's say specifically in business, right? When it comes to like event planning and whatnot. What are some things that you believed to be true? Like over time, and then learned that they weren't true.
Um, you know, in the event business, and I just speak from different perspectives. You know, people. Not everybody makes as much money as you think they're making, and you know,
Right.
some people think like, oh man, you know, you got money out the wazoo, and people never factor or incorporate the expenses. You go in a club, don't mean you are a multimillionaire because you're in a club.
Right.
Just because you got so many people in there, it costs a lot more money to make money than what you think it is, and especially in these inflated times. You know, and then also too, certain markets are just more profitable than others. You can go to Houston is a very profitable market right now. Miami has been a very profitable market for a very long time. Same thing with LA and even Atlanta. You know, and there are certain markets that were very profitable that aren't as profitable as they were before because it's just a sign of the times. You know, you know, I don't know about any untruths, things that I might have discovered, but I always knew it was going to be, you know, work, time, dedication, and you know, it could be very lucrative, you know, if it's managed correctly, you know, but I don't really have any untruths.
Okay.
I have some. I guess you could say I probably have more surprising truths.
Okay.
You know, than untruths.
Yeah.
You know, and just in the experience of the business, certain things that you're not necessarily gonna see until you in.
Yeah. Word.
You know, I would definitely say that. You know?
Yeah, I think like I mean that's a great example. Like, you know, the belief that, or the assumption of whoever is making money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for example, you know, you work with a new restaurateur, not like new to you, new relationship. You know, somebody, a club owner or a restaurateur, what have you. When you hit it out the park, for example, what you did with your first brunch, you realize how valuable you are, or not you, how valuable what you brought to the table is. You know what I mean? And not just to you and to the crowd of people, but to that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he can't replicate that on his own next weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you hit it out the park, hitting out the park is not a common thing.
It's not.
Like, it's all that makes the highlight reels, but it's not common.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to do it consistently, to do it at scale, is even less common. But like, you learn that everybody's in the game, everybody's playing, everybody's not winning.
And everybody has their own different reasons for being in the game.
Yeah.
And that's really probably the most solid foundation. Everybody's going to enter the game for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some people who's in it for similar reasons, but everybody's in the game for different reasons.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that I was surprised about too.
Yeah.
You know, also, I mean, I always tell people this: you really want to know who is supporting you to start a business.
Right.
You want to know who's supporting you. You know.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised who will support you the most when you start a business. Now that's a new surprise. I kind of said I didn't have one a moment ago, but that's definitely a new surprise. You'll have some people who will show you their appreciation, and you'll be like, "Wow, I never really saw this coming." You know, you didn't even know that. You know,
right.
I would be appreciated in this way for doing this, or supporting this way for doing the business.
Yeah,
you know, and you might think it might come from like a family member,
right,
or you know somebody that you know for the longest time,
right,
and it doesn't necessarily, and it's okay. It doesn't necessarily always play out like that. But you know that's definitely a surprise.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. That's like starting a business. You know, starting a venture that is like not a tech startup. Right. I mean, like you get it hand to hand to a degree. You know what I mean? Like people got to buy tickets, or people got to buy whatever the items are. You know what I mean? People got to buy these tables. People got to buy these bottles, and like you don't know, you don't get to assign what your value is in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Other people get to assign what your value to them is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to your point, you get surprised at how highly people might regard you or want to support you that you don't have necessarily a close relationship with, or they're not your family, they're not childhood friend, they're not even somebody that you develop a relationship with after the support. They just want to support. Like, they don't want to be your friend necessarily. Yeah. They just want to be supportive of what you're doing. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that's definitely and it's a good surprise.
Yeah.
When I first started a business, I had a core of cousins that just kept on coming.
Yeah.
And that really helped.
Yep.
That core of cousins came to invest before my parents did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it came to
But
you know, that's just life and how it go. You know, so I mean, those are surprises. Those are the good surprises for sure. You know, you just never know how people feel about you, or you know, regard what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
You know, but definitely, you know, the cost of running businesses, I just think probably should be advertised more, or I wish people had more education on, because it really does cost a lot.
A lot.
You know, and those profit margins make or break people. Even if you got a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, if you're selling a product and let's say you're making $5 or $6 on the product, but some of that money on that product has to go towards other things, electricity, gas, marketing, and employment. And it's really a combination of the profit margin that you have, and after your expenses, whatever's left, that's really your profit margin. You know? So, you know, people really got to take the cost of business and have that understanding. And businesses in general just got rocked so hard since COVID.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So, you know,
for sure,
probably should be some more business courtesy out there. And then we all been young before. You know, I've been harder on places I just didn't really have an understanding and didn't know. But now, with time and experience, it's like, okay, it'll really change your perspective.
Yeah, truly.
Really will, you know?
Truly.
Especially with stuff like food costs in this day and age, you know? So when you think about it, I do brunches.
Right.
So now just food costs.
Right.
Changes things.
Yeah, like think about, like, for example, I mean, not think about, you already know it, but for example, say I remember I was helping my man with a restaurant. This is like 15 years ago now. And it was like at a time when the price of wings went up, right? Chicken wings, which is like, chicken wings are a staple in a lot of like restaurants. For a lot of a lot of restaurants, the wings are what keeps the lights on.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Well, when the price of wings goes up, you as a restaurateur, you're one restaurateur, right? You know, obviously other restaurateurs, the price went up too. But the pain you feel when the price goes up, at scale, every single customer, if you were to raise your price because the price went up, you're gonna get that energy from every customer.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And if you don't raise your price, how you gonna make your margin?
And the thing is, they know you have to buy it, so you're not gonna take it off.
Right.
You're not. That's what they get you.
Yeah.
The cost of wings goes up. You know, $5 a pack or whatever the case may be. So now that starts to eat away at your profit margin. You a Spotlight Wingstop. You're not going to not sell wings.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you a sports bar.
You're a sports bar.
Yeah.
That's, like you said, that's what the main thing come. You're not going to say, hey, look, we're not selling them no more. You know?
Yeah.
So now ain't nothing free in this world. Somebody's gonna pay.
Somebody got to pay that.
Pay for something.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna pay for something. That's just the reality of
it.
You know?
I want to talk about this towel. I want to talk about this brand.
Okay.
Right? So where do you get your sense of, this is very fly, by the way. Thank you very much for this. Where do you get your sense of branding?
All right, so I'm gonna start with the logo. So first of all, a former student, shout out to Teddy. I taught Teddy. I've been an educator for 17 years. This is my 17th school year. I'm about to finish up. I know that was crazy. I started, 23 years old. So I might have had Teddy probably like a good 14 years ago.
Okay.
And I had another logo. It was cool. You know, it was like a mimosa glass. And it had my name on across the bottom. That's when I, first started.
Yep.
And he